Ever wondered which cabin in Percy Jackson you'd belong to? You may have a favorite, you may feel connected to one cabin more than others, or you may have no idea where you'd land. Well, your zodiac sign just claimed you a cabin. One sign is not going to like where they end up. That cabin has existed for 3,000 years and no sign has ever been sent there. Until now. Hang around till the end to find out if it's your sign, Aries. Okay. This one shouldn't be a surprise. If you're an Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, you already know where you're going. You're going to Aries' cabin. Aries is ruled by Mars, the Roman name for the god of war, and Aries has a cabin full of kids who settle arguments with their fists. You are exactly where you belong. Aries are natural leaders, fearless, decisive, and the first person through the door when things go wrong. In a camp full of demigods, that matters. You don't freeze, you don't hesitate. When a quest needs someone to charge straight at the monster without a plan, every head in the room turns to you. The problem is that's also your only setting. Clarisse LaRue is the most famous child of Aries in the series. She shoved Percy's head in a toilet the first time she met him. That is Aries energy. Loyal to the right people, terrifying to everyone else, and completely incapable of taking the long way round. You will start a fight at Camp Half-Blood. It might be today, it might be tomorrow, but it's coming. Aries' cabin was always going to be obvious. The rest of these are not. Taurus. Taurus is an earth sign, grounded, stubborn, and more connected to the natural world than they'd probably admit. They don't chase chaos or demand to be the loudest person in the room. They just need things to grow the way they're supposed to. You're going to Demeter cabin. Demeter is the goddess of the harvest. Her kids grow crops in their sleep, talk to plants like it's normal, and have a quiet kind of power that most campers underestimate. That suits you perfectly because you've spent your whole life being underestimated. Taurus are some of the most reliable people alive. When everyone else is panicking, you're the one who already has a plan. You don't need glory, you just need the job done. Demeter held winter over the entire world because she didn't get what she wanted. She let crops die, let people starve, and refused to budge until Zeus personally intervened. You would have done the same thing. 2 down, both earth signs, both exactly where you'd expect them. That changes now. Gemini. Gemini is the sign of 2 faces, adaptable, quick thinking, and somehow able to talk their way into and out of anything. You're the person who can make friends with anyone in a room and leave without anyone knowing your real name. Hermes' cabin claimed you, probably while you weren't looking. Hermes is the messenger god, the god of travelers, thieves, and people who are very good at being in the right place at the right time. His cabin is the biggest at Camp Half-Blood, and it's not close. Every unclaimed demigod ends up there by default, which means Hermes' cabin has produced more heroes, more criminals, and more people who are somehow both than any other cabin in the history of the camp. Luke Castellan came from Hermes' cabin. So did Connor and Travis Stoll, who once stole the Aries cabin's entire weapons rack and replaced everything with foam replicas. That is your people. The thing about Gemini is that the charm is real. The loyalty is also real, but so is the fact that you've already clocked every exit in this room and you're keeping at least one secret right now. Hermes' cabin didn't produce the most interesting campers in the series by accident. They just never got caught. Neither do you. Usually, 3 signs in and you might think you've figured out the pattern. You haven't. Leo. This one was never going to be subtle. Leo is the sun sign, confident, magnetic, and completely aware that every room they walk into gets a little more interesting. You don't seek attention, it just follows you. Apollo cabin has your name written all over it. Apollo is the god of the sun, music, poetry, and prophecy. His cabin is full of healers, artists, and archers who are somehow good at everything and will absolutely tell you about it. They are the most talented campers at Camp Half-Blood, and they have never once been humble about it. Will Solis is the most prominent Apollo cabin kid in the series. Healer, leader, the person everyone turns to when things fall apart. He's calm under pressure, genuinely gifted, and completely insufferable about it in the nicest possible way. That is you. Leo placements light up every room they're in, and they know it. The confidence isn't arrogance. You've usually earned it. The problem is that you're so used to being the main character that you sometimes forget other people have storylines too. Apollo literally turned himself into a mortal as a punishment and still couldn't stop writing poetry about himself. You understand him completely. Apollo cabin knows exactly how good they are. The next sign has never needed anyone to tell them anything. Virgo. Virgo notices everything. The detail nobody else caught, the plan with the flaw in it, the person in the room who is slightly too confident for someone who hasn't done the reading, analytical, precise, and quietly certain that if everyone just listened to them, things would go a lot smoother. Athena Cabin has been expecting you. Athena is the goddess of wisdom and strategic warfare. Her cabin doesn't win fights with brute strength. They win them 3 moves ahead of everyone else. Annabeth Chase designed buildings in her head at 7 years old and had a plan to escape the labyrinth before anyone else accepted they were lost. Virgos are the most prepared person in any room. You've already thought through the scenarios, identified the weak points, and quietly judged everyone who hasn't. You don't say it out loud. You don't need to. The problem is that being right all the time is exhausting for everyone around you. Annabeth spent most of the series being the smartest person in the room, and nobody listened to her until it was almost too late. You know exactly how she felt. Athena Cabin already knew they were getting Virgo. They worked it out 3 weeks ago. The next sign didn't need to work anything out. They just walked in and the room rearranged itself. Libra. Libra walks in and the room shifts. There's no announcement, no grand entrance, just something about a Libra that makes people want to be near them. Charming, perceptive, and better at reading people than anyone gives them credit for. Aphrodite Cabin has your name on the door. Aphrodite is the goddess of love and beauty. Her cabin are the best-dressed campers at Camp Half-Blood by a significant margin, and they have strong opinions about it. Selena Beauregard is the most prominent Aphrodite Cabin kid in the series. Kind, fiercely loyal, and completely underestimated by every single person who met her. That underestimation is a Libra trademark. Everyone assumes Aphrodite Cabin is shallow. They're wrong. Libras understand people at a level most signs never reach. You know what someone wants before they've said it. You can tell when something is wrong before anyone admits it. You just choose to deliver that information with better hair than everyone else. The weakness is the indecision. Libra is the scales. Always weighing, always balancing, always seeing both sides of an argument so clearly that picking one feels impossible. Aphrodite once caused a 10-year war because she couldn't leave well enough alone. You've caused smaller versions of that. You know which ones. Aphrodite Cabin will smile about their placement. The next sign won't. Scorpio. Scorpio is the sign people are slightly nervous around, and they can't explain why. You haven't done anything. You're just standing there. But there is something behind your eyes that makes people feel like you already know things about them they haven't said out loud. Intense, perceptive, and completely unbothered by the parts of life that terrify everyone else. Hades' cabin is yours. Hades is the god of the underworld. His cabin sat unclaimed and avoided for most of Camp Half-Blood's history, not because it was weak, but because nobody wanted to admit what it meant to belong there. Nico D'Angelo walked into the underworld alone. He raised an army of the dead. He carried a secret for years that would have broken most people and never let it show. That is your blueprint. The most dangerous thing about a Scorpio isn't what they do, it's what they know and choose not to say yet. You've been waiting for the right moment to use it for so long that the moment has probably already passed. Next up is a sign with a big ego, Sagittarius. Sagittarius believes the rules apply to everyone else, not in a malicious way, just in a quiet, settled certainty that they are the exception and the universe has generally agreed with them so far. Big ideas, bigger ego, and an ability to talk their way out of consequences that should, by all accounts, have finished them. Zeus' cabin is waiting for you. Zeus is the king of Olympus. His cabin sits at the top of the hill, slightly separate from the others, which is exactly where Zeus has always believed he belongs. His children are powerful, magnetic, and carry the kind of authority that makes other campers instinctively step back. Thalia Grace is the most prominent child of Zeus in the series. She was so powerful as a demigod that Zeus turned her into a pine tree to save her life, and she spent years as camp's best early warning system without being asked. When she came back, she immediately took charge of the hunt for Artemis, a quest that wasn't hers in a role nobody offered her. That is Sagittarius. Natural authority, genuine power, and an absolute inability to stay in your lane. Zeus swore on the river Styx he would have no more demigod children. He then had Thalia, then Jason. The most powerful god in existence looked at his own oath and decided it was more of a suggestion. You have done this, with smaller oaths, but still. The next cabin has been building something but nobody noticed. Capricorn. Capricorn doesn't talk about what they're building, they just build it. While every other sign is debating or waiting for the right moment, Capricorn is already 3 steps in, disciplined, focused, and completely unbothered by the fact that nobody noticed. Hephaestus' cabin is yours. Hephaestus was thrown off Olympus as a child, landed hard, and built an empire of craft from the wreckage. His cabin don't win wars with charm or divine authority. They win them by building the thing that makes winning possible in the first place. Leo Valdez resurrected himself using a physician's cure he'd spent months quietly preparing for a death he hadn't told anyone about. The plan was already in place, you just didn't mention it. The weakness is that Capricorn is so focused on the work that they sometimes forget people aren't projects. Hephaestus built his wife a golden throne that trapped her the moment she sat down. That was his solution to a relationship problem. Aquarius. Aquarius operates on a frequency most people can't quite tune into. Independent, unpredictable, and completely comfortable existing outside the lines everyone else is carefully staying inside. You don't rebel for the sake of it, you just genuinely don't understand why the rules were drawn there in the first place. Dionysus' cabin has you. Hecate would have been the easy answer here, but Aquarius isn't defined by strangeness alone. Aquarius is strange with emotional distance, rebellion, and a stubborn refusal to admit they care. That's Dionysus. He didn't choose to be at Camp Half-Blood. Zeus sent him there as a punishment. Mr. D knows every camper's name, but calls them something slightly wrong on purpose. He cares deeply about the camp and will never admit it to anyone. Dionysus spent a century pretending not to care about a camp full of children he would have burned Olympus down to protect. Everyone could already tell, they just let you have it. One sign left before the one you've been waiting for. Pisces. Pisces feels everything. They didn't choose it, and they can't turn it off. The emotions of the people around them, the weight of decisions that haven't been made yet, the pull between two worlds they never quite fully belong to. Pisces live in the space between things and somehow make it work. Poseidon cabin is truly yours. Poseidon is the god of the sea. His cabin has had exactly one camper in the entire series, and that camper accidentally caused a war, held up the sky, and fell into Tartarus for the person he loved without hesitating for a single second. Here's the thing, Percy Jackson is actually a Leo, born August 18th. Rick Riordan even put a joke in the books where Percy asks Leo Valdez about his star sign, and Leo says, "No, stupid, I'm a Leo, you're a Percy." And yet there is no character in the entire series who feels more like the ocean than he does. That's Pisces. You don't always match the label people put on you. You just match the water. Pisces don't survive Camp Half-Blood on power. They survive on loyalty so stubborn it bends the rules of how things are supposed to go. The ocean doesn't rage because it's strong. It rages because it feels everything and has nowhere else to put it. You know exactly what that's like. Cancer. Cancer is the most loyal sign in the zodiac. Deeply emotional, fiercely protective, and built entirely around the people they love. A Cancer will show up for you without being asked, remember the thing you mentioned once 6 months ago, and quietly hold everything together while everyone else falls apart. They don't need recognition. They just need the people they care about to be okay. Of all the signs, Cancer deserves a cabin that feels like home, which makes this harder to say. You're going to Hera cabin. Hera is the goddess of marriage and family, queen of Olympus, the most powerful goddess on the mountain. Her cabin sits at Camp Half-Blood, torches lit, door closed. No camper has ever slept there. In 3,000 years, Hera has never claimed a single demigod child. Hera isn't the goddess of motherhood. She is the goddess of marriage. Her power is the institution, not the family inside it. You are going to a cabin that has everything except the thing that makes it matter. The torches stay lit, the door stays closed. And somewhere in that, if you're a Cancer, you already understand exactly how that feels. Now it's time to find out how strong your cabin actually is. The 7 Levels of Cabins video breaks down every cabin from weakest to strongest, the history, the powers, the demigods who came out of it. It's on screen now.